this motherfucker Wayne from New Orleans. I'm from Atlanta. This nigga was in Atlanta and I was in New Orleans. I said, what the fuck? That was so weird. This nigga fucking damn shot at this nigga to us. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know who the fuck did it. They said Roscoe, but I don't wanna block. I don't wanna block out y'all case by saying Roscoe didn't do that. And knowing Roscoe, man, that man a fucking scrub. That fool. I'm like, you shot at somebody, bro? But I don't fucking know, cause every day nigga grow a fucking ball. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Like, you feel what I'm saying? Yeah, Ralo was a rat. Yeah, when you got your paperwork sealed in 5-1, come on, man. When you walk the federal compound, did before they say you couldn't take your paperwork off the pound, all that cap ass shit. Come on, man. That's wrong. Who else wrong? Because I don't even like fuck with rat. That ain't nothing that I'm in tune with. Who else? Sergio, all my co-defendants. You feel what I'm saying? Come on, man. Only one of them kept it solid. Jeffrey Lamar Williams. You feel what I'm saying? In my eyes, in my book. Because if the police pull me over right now, where you coming from? Where I'm coming from is my business. I can say I'm coming from the studio. That don't mean I told you where the fuck I'm coming from. What's illegal about where the fuck I'm coming from? What's illegal about me having a conversation? What is wrong in the streets is when you willing to comply and testify and assert your Fifth Amendment. When you do any of that, that is dead wrong. Like what they did to Woody. He's overly wrong as well. Not even them. Yeah, you don't get on that stand, yeah, going to jail. You feel what I'm saying? I was offered the biggest deal before anybody. When y'all say I was on the run, I was offered immunity without probation. You feel that?
You gonna put me in this? I ain't got nothing to do with home. Nothing to do with home. I ain't even went up. Now keep that same energy that y'all did to everybody else to him. Hey, you talking about? Going online talking about, nigga, don't even say my name. I ain't said now one of y'all nigga name. Now time, nigga. Hey, you talking about? Come on with the joke. Roscoe, where you at? Come outside. Get out that house. Come outside. Let's meet up. Let's meet up. Let's do like back in the days. Meet up. They ain't talking about nothing. Always getting online talking about another nigga, man. Nigga, I wasn't even saying that. I just made my little post telling nigga, hey, stick to your homeboy. Now you want to go online and say something about me. Nigga, I ain't said nothing about you, homeboy. You
still talking about, oh, nigga ratted, nigga a rat, nigga da-da-da. Bro, that's God. That ain't nothing but God biting you back in your ass, bro. Cause you probably been thankful that you just beat a life sentence in a RICO and came home and minded your business and been humble. But instead, you still coming out pushing the rat narrative, bro, and all that, this, that, and the third. Now look, he came back and bought your bitch in the ass. But that ain't the key. The thing is, too, though, he brainwashed people. He still got motherfuckers on this bitch talking about, and y'all heard it with y'all own ears. You got motherfuckers talking about AI and did that and the third, and oh, he ain't rat on nobody. Bro, if you sit down with 12 and bust out and say these words, if y'all talking about a nigga like Gunna ratted from saying, yes, ma'am, you mean to tell me this not making a nigga a rat by saying shit? They said Roscoe shot the bus up. And then a nigga like Roscoe did 10 years behind this shit, and you just got on the internet talking about a nigga didn't rat on you? Boy, your ass so brainwashed, it's sickening. Y'all niggas need daddy figures, and y'all niggas be sitting back waiting on something good, waiting on something to happen. Like, yeah, I'm gonna stick around. Maybe a nigga put me on. Maybe a nigga I can get something out of nigga or something did that. Like, it's so gay and weird to me, but y'all be on my ass about being a real nigga. Rich, I'm not studying the internet, but I'm just letting y'all know how brainwashed and weird the world and the internet is, y'all. Come on, my brother. Roscoe, you the worstest. Twin, you worse than the rat itself. You did 10 years, twin, behind this shit. Roscoe, you did 10 years behind it, brother. And you just come on the internet and say a nigga didn't tell on you when everybody just heard this man say your name a few times? You feel me?
Urban Artificial Intelligence Strategic Thinking Media Platform. An interrogation video of Young Thug recently surfaced. Now, this is from 2015. This isn't new. This doesn't have anything to do with the most recent YSL case. But if y'all remember in 2015, where members of Young Thug's crew was allegedly involved with a shooting where somebody shot at Lil Wayne's bus. This was also when Lil Wayne and Thug was kind of beefing a little bit. So it's kind of funny that this just, happens to pop up. It happens to surface as Young Thug is getting that Gunna for being a snitch, and all the snitch, that stuff is going on in Atlanta. So it's kind of crazy now. This immediately went viral. The first thing that people said when this surfaced is, what could Young Thug be talking to the police about for 2 hours? I think anytime you a street guy or you a rapper, and you have a significantly long interrogation tape, it's gonna cause problems. All right, we seen that happen with Yak Gotti. He had a very lengthy interrogation tape. Now, he didn't end up being in anybody's paperwork. He didn't testify. He didn't go to court or anything. And he did address this on Vlad TV. I'm not seeing anybody else come forward outside of YSL and calling him a snitch. Of course, the other guys who he's going back and forth with at YSL, they're calling him a snitch, but I'm not seeing him in anybody's paperwork. Nobody else is coming forward and saying he told on them. So we just gonna have to see how that play out now. Back to what's going on with again, this video was released. It's a 2-hour interrogation. All right, we gonna get into it, but before I deep dive into this, let me say this. I'm not a thug, I'm not a criminal, I'm not actively involved in the criminal underworld, okay? So in the big scheme of things, this doesn't really matter to me, all right? None of this really affects me. I won't be doing crime with any of these guys, so it doesn't really matter if they cooperated or not, in my opinion, because it has nothing to do with me. However, I did create a strategic thinking media platform that's based on urban strategic thinking, and it's influenced by the hip hop culture. And that is a thing in the hip hop culture, y'all. A lot of y'all don't want to acknowledge how important the whole snitch rat scenario is in the urban culture and the hip hop culture. It's a part of the culture. It is what it is. I understand a lot of y'all don't agree with it. I understand that a lot of y'all think that it's a waste of time and it's a piss poor honor system. I get that. But these are rules that was implemented before me and probably before you listening. So this is how it goes. If we want to be fans of hip hop, if we want to critique hip hop, these are one of the things that we have to speak about, because when you talk about the honor system, whether you believe that it's a true to value system or not, cooperating with the police is a strike against your character in hip hop. That's just the way it is, all right? And we got to acknowledge that, okay? So I wanted to say that to get that out the way. But again, this is a strategic thinking media platform. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Now let's go to Urban AI real quick so we can get another point of view, another angle. Urban AI is going to break it down to you, everything that's going on. So, Urban AI, what specifically did Young Thug say in this interrogation that makes people think he's a snitch? Again, this is 2015. We haven't heard anything about Young Thug being a snitch. Why now? Why with this interrogation tape? Why is it going so viral? And why do people believe Thug is telling?
The resurfaced interrogation video, Dot's audio, shows Young Thug being questioned about the 2015 shooting at Lil Wayne's tour bus. In the clip, police pressed him about Pee Wee Roscoe, Jimmy Winfrey, who was later convicted in connection with the shooting. At one point, Thug mentioned Roscoe's name while talking to investigators. That single moment, simply name-dropping Roscoe during questioning, is what led many to accuse him of ratting, since in street culture, giving police any info that helps their case, even if it seems small, is labeled snitching. Thug has been very vocal about loyalty and calling out others, like Gunna, for allegedly cooperating with police. So when this interrogation resurfaced, critics called him hypocritical, saying, "How can you disown Gunna for snitching when you yourself gave up Pee Wee?" At one point, Thug said something along the lines of, "That's Roscoe's situation," when asked who was responsible for the bus shooting. Even though Pee Wee himself says Thug didn't snitch, the perception stuck, especially because of Thug's own harsh stance against others accused of cooperating.
Okay, so that's the reason that people think Thug is telling. I want y'all to get in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about that. No, he's not in anybody's paperwork. And those couple of sentences, I mean, that is negotiable when you talk about the space of snitching, when you talk about the space of, are you actually helping the police as a informant, or are you giving them a hand at solving a crime? The way that Young Thug answered those questions, you can argue that he is helping the police. Now, is he in paperwork? Did he go to court? Is he pointing anybody out? No. But if you one of those people who feel like any type of help towards the police and snitching, those are the type of people that would consider this snitching. Now, do I consider this snitching? It's not for me to say. However, again, there are people who I spoke to. Look, I'm going to say this. It's people out there who feel like if you say anything to the police besides, I want to speak to a lawyer, they're going to call you a snitch. All right, that's number one. Number two, the way that Young Thug is saying things, how he's saying, I don't want to impede y'all's investigation, or how when he was speaking on Pee Wee, he said, that's Pee Wee's situation. Well, he didn't say Pee Wee did it, but he said that's Pee Wee's situation. A lot of people would consider that dry snitching. All right. A lot of people would consider that dry snitching. A lot of people would consider that almost like a coded language. All right. He's not coming out and saying, I seen Pee Wee shoot at Lil Wayne's bus. He didn't say that. But by him saying that's Pee Wee's situation, by him even bringing up another person's name in the situation, a lot of people would consider that helping the police. A lot of people would consider that telling. I want y'all to get in the comments and let me know what y'all think, all right? I don't judge Young Thug. I don't look at Young Thug no type of different way. I see all these guys as entertainers. Nothing a rapper can do will surprise me. All right, it's not a lot of things that a rapper can do that will make me stop listening to their music. It's a few things, and if you use your imagination, I'm sure you can think of a couple things a rapper could do that will make me stop listening to them. But telling is probably not one, depending on how much I like your music. In this situation, it's going to be the same sandwich. I'm still going to continue to listen to Young Thug. Again, I don't see him any differently. But again, the things that he's saying, he's kind of volunteering information. A lot of people said that. A lot of people said he ate multiple times during this interrogation. Now, hardened criminals and people who've done way more crimes than me and are way tougher than me, I was seeing them having a conversation saying, hey, there's no way he ate that much without volunteering some type of information. The police do not bring criminals food. All right, they just don't bring criminals food. That's not something that they do. They trade food for information. Okay, and a guy on Reddit was brazen enough to say 100% of the time, if you see food from outside of that building, the person is telling. Now, if they got a bag of chips or they got a sandwich or they got a soda, it could come from the building. You never know. It's right there. A vending machine, you don't know. He could have, just got it for the person. The person might have been sweating, looked like they was going to pass out or whatever the case. But when a nigga got wings, a sub, shrimp, fries, dipping sauce, all right, crab boil, all type of big platter items, some shit they ain't make at the station, some shit the station don't offer, some shit the police got to drive in his car to go get. He probably exchanged that meal for valuable information. I don't know for sure. That's why so many people think Thug told. That's the conversation that's going on. I want y'all to get in the comments and let me know. Now, Pee Wee Roscoe himself came out and said, no, Thug didn't snitch on me. Thug said that I sold Lil Wayne weed, which he said that was the truth. Now, I could see how somebody could say that's snitching. That I couldn't argue that. However, because Pee Wee Roscoe was being investigated for a shooting, that could have been something to throw the police off. If I'm being questioned about a shooting, if the police are looking at me and I'm being involved in some type of armed crime, me selling weed is gonna look like a petty charge. That might not even be something that they pay attention to. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Clearly that wasn't the case. All right, because Roscoe did some time for it, and YSL Mondo called that out. YSL Mondo also spoke on it. He said he feels like Pee Wee is brainwashed, and he said he is 100% sure in his book that Young Thug gave up information on Pee Wee. Now, this is tricky, y'all. This is real tricky because Pee Wee also called out Ralo. He spoke on Ralo, which I feel like was a mistake. Now, I might make some more content going deeper into this, but Pee Wee, brother, you shouldn't have brought up Ralo. In my opinion, of course, I don't know none of y'all, but I did create a strategic thinking media platform. And the reason that I'm saying that is because ain't what Ralo was suspected of doing, ain't that pretty much what Thug did? Gave a little bit of, bullshit information, didn't really say too much. From what I know, that's kind of the same thing that Ralo did. So if you calling Ralo a rat, why don't you look at what Young Thug did as being the same type of situation? All right, maybe we could hear more from him. I don't know. I'm not judging nobody in the situation. I'm going off the information that's on the internet and based off some life experiences, people I know, and conversations that I read. I don't know anybody in the situation. It's all internet speculation. However, what Young Thug did and what Ralo was accused of doing is kind of the same thing. I actually heard Ralo just made up people, which would make what Thug did worse. But y'all got to get in the comments and let me know. Let me know how y'all feel about this. Which one is closer to snitching? Is what Ralo did snitching? Because again, they said he just made people up. Young Thug named real people. And the last thing that I want to talk about, somebody else under the comments was saying the officers look kind of fanned out. And I got to agree with that. The second time I listened to this, the officers did sound kind of fanned out. They were asking a lot of questions about the music industry. I don't know how much information that had to do with the case that they were working on. It sounded like they just wanted to hear some cool stories. Maybe that's why they got him the food. Maybe they fans of his music. Maybe their kids were fans. I know this was around the time where Lifestyle was real hot. He was speaking on Lifestyle. I'm sure they heard that song. I'm sure they liked that song. I'm sure they wanted to just listen to stories. All right, maybe that's why they was being nice. Maybe that's why they wanted him to talk. We got it. I'm trying to give Thug the benefit of the doubt. He is a public figure. He is a musician. He's an artist. People like to hear him talk. It sounded like the police were kind of just happy to be talking to him. I don't know. Y'all get in the comments, man. Let me know what y'all think about this. But before I get out of here, I just want to make this last point. Look at how many different ideas people have of what snitching is. It's crazy. Look at all the different things that people think qualify as snitching. Again, like I said, some people feel like if you go into the interrogation room and you don't say in anything besides I want to speak to my lawyer, they're going to say that you snitching. I could make up a story, try to wag. Some people will say, you still talk to the police. You were still in dealings with the police. Even though the people were fake, even though the shit was a lie, even though none of this shit I said existed, I'm still exchanging information with the police, which that probably, a nigga probably believe, well, if you'll make some shit up, if you get into a bad enough situation, then you'll snitch for real. Can you blame somebody for thinking like that? When you're dealing with criminals, you never know. You never know. Maybe that's a strategic way that criminals got to think, man. But I don't know. Y'all get in the comments, man. Let me know what y'all think about YSL Mondo. What y'all think about Ralo. What y'all think about Pee Wee. What y'all think about Thug, man. All these dudes, 4 guys right here, have different ideas of what snitching is. I'm sure Ralo don't feel like he snitched. Pee Wee think he did snitch. Okay, and I'm sure Thug feel like he didn't snitch. Ralo probably think Thug snitch. That's kind of what he's hitting at. And YSL Mondo think Thug snitch. And this is just how the whole city is. Everybody got their own individual idea of what telling is. This shit is crazy, man. Get in the comments and let me know what y'all think. Urban Artificial Intelligence, strategic thinking media platform. Like, share, subscribe, and help the channel grow if you enjoy this content. I'm going to see y'all in the next episode. Peace.